These are the kind of series you get ready to go for. AL Central, Royals right behind you, and they're in town for a 3-game set. Man, am I excited. The only thing that makes this better if it was a weekend series. Can we somehow flip? Nobody wants to play the Marlins this weekend. I wish the Royals were here this weekend. But Guardians are in action. I do want to promote Guardians. No fees on tickets for this series, man. They want to get you down there. Should they bring back a little history from 50 years ago today? No, do not do 10-cent beer night. In today's inflation rate, it'd be 65-cent beer night if they did that 50 years ago today. I'm excited to do this. Ryan is a younger one. Now, I didn't live through 10-cent beer night either. But we are going to run through the history of 10-cent beer night. We're going to do that in hour 2. I've got the whole write-up on what happened this night, 1974. A lot of people out there maybe were there for 10-cent beer night, but we'll get to that coming up.
Same people were at Len Barker's perfect game.
Yeah, there were 100,000, Ryan. 100,000 people there. 10,000 people drank 60,000 beers. 60,000 10-cent beers that night. The demand surpassed the Indians' capacity, and eventually they allowed fans to line up outside of the outfield fences and fill their cups up directly from the Stroh's Company truck. Bad idea all around. But we'll get to 10-cent beer night tonight. Guards with a huge series, an absolutely huge series that will get you ready to go for tonight. Browns golf outing yesterday. Joe Bitonio speaking. Ryan sent the tweet, man. I hate when we get to this point of some players' careers. And it comes back to, I think, not a bigger issue with teams, but sometimes some things you got to realize. When you had positions that you didn't have to worry about, when you had Josh Cribbs, when you had Joe Hayden, when you had Joe Tom, you didn't have to worry about this position. Well, eventually, they hang them up. And it's not quite yet that time for Joel Bitonio, but maybe sooner rather than later. So we'll get to that coming up. We have a huge guest, Ken Miles, big play. He's joining us at 9:30. We got to talk about his horse that's running in the Belmont this weekend. Already a Preakness champion. And we're going to tease something. We can't officially announce it yet. I said a major announcement yesterday, but we're going to tease something that we have to get involved with Ken, the horse racing side of things. We'll get to that. Baseball betting starting to come to the forefront too with that Pirates player. We'll get to all that coming up. Time up, bracket, grid, update, all of it right here on a 2 for Tuesday on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Dude, I'd love, you get up for football because you get a game a week, right? Basketball, there's big games, and certainly for the playoffs, I think Cavs, as Cavs, Guardians, Browns fans, like the most of us are, Cavs are different because we just got so jaded with the playoffs, or you got so, this is the atmosphere. Baseball regular season, though, that can be hard, right? That can be so tough. And with how the Guardians are playing, they're beating some of the bad teams as they should. This is another marker. This is another little 3-game series. I'd love Lively to pitch, but you don't have him. That's all right. You got Bybee on Wednesday. You got McKenzie tonight. And I want to send that message to the Royals. I want to send that message to the Kansas City Royals. You did it a little while ago when you beat the Twins. That's all I'm asking for this series. Take 2 out of 3. And I know tonight is going to be really hard because you're facing Seth Lugo, who's probably the favorite to win the AL Cy Young right now. He's dealing. But this is this little test. This is your little tester here. And it's not that the season is washed when you're all said and done with this 3-game set. It's not that you're going to sit there and make a panic move. But there's another element I'd be lying to you if I didn't say about this series. That if you go out and you play well, which I do expect, and I'm asking the guard, I'm going to bet him every night on Tipico to win, you win this series. And I think it really then pushes that front office even that much more to go make a trade. I have the Jeff Passan article this morning that we'll get to about some buyers and sellers across the league. And he's got the Guardians as a likely adder. He did 4 different tiers, right? For sure sellers, tweeners, might add some, and then definite add. I thought it was interesting he did not put us in the definite add category. Maybe that has to do with ownership. I don't know.
I think that's purely history speaking.
Probably. And then I would come back to say that they're right in the most likely going to add. I want to get to the passing article right now because it's somebody. It's a position that I didn't see. So I start by saying if you play well in this series, I think, and you could say, well, if they play poorly, that would push the front office to say, oh, man, we got to plug this hole and things like. I see the opposite, man. I'm feeling the opposite. You go out and you prove to this front office, as you have been, that we're in this, that we are going to compete. And baseball playoffs are a little different than any of the other ones, man. You get the Texas Rangers out of nowhere. You get the Nationals when they went and won the World Series. You get in there and you play hot for a couple of weeks, you're going to find yourself in the World Series. That's different than any football. It's usually the better teams. Basketball, usually the better teams. Baseball, a lot of parity, man. That's a lot of parity that can happen. And honestly, the Guardians, Indians have been on the opposite side of that parity. How many of those series in 17 and 18, you walked in as the favorite team and you get swept on out? Anything can happen when you get there. And if you prove to Antonetti and Dolan and Sherna, like, we are going to compete. We're going to fight this way through. It's going to push them even more to go make a trade. Let's get to Jeff Passan's article this morning. It's hot right now. Cleveland Guardians as likely adders at the trade deadline. Passan writes, regardless of how real the Guardians are, they've staked themselves an immense cushion and earned some payroll leeway from owner Larry Dolan. The Guardians started the season at barely over $100 million at payroll, which is just insane. They've written a ridiculous bullpen and a surprisingly stout offense to the third best record in baseball. Shortstop has been a little bit of a black hole. Brian Rocchio, you gave that chance to prove that he can be an everyday guy. And I like Brian Rocchio. I do. I think I just like his name. Is not Brian Rocchio a great name? I like his name.
I like how he spells Brian.
Yeah, with a Y. You know, Gabriel Arias. Friends about done with Gabriel Arias.
He's too busy tweeting off his burner on X.
I don't want to get into that. He's got a burner?
Oh, you didn't? Oh, you don't know about
No, he has
this.
a burner?
Oh, you don't know about
I have
this.
no idea. Inform me, please. He's got a burner?
Yes. He was.
Burners get found out.
Do you know the account La Mole? Yeah. So
isn't it Fran Mills' eyes
Fran
or
Mills,
something?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was discovered. He was tweeting something. He said something along the lines of Rocchio, Arias, and I forget who as a 7-8-9 is a lineup from hell. And there was a burner that replied. And
I thought you were trying to tell me that La Mole was his burner. Okay.
No.
So
he made it very clear that this was a burner of one of those three players. And you go back because he said you want a photo of us, or you go back and you could tell it was Arias's. So reflog.
Oh my God.
Reflog.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
500,000 followers just got outed there, or told basically that I did not know he had a burner.
So reflog let them know.
I will tell you, I do not have a burner. I don't have time for that. I barely run my own Twitter, so that's interesting on Gabriel Arias.
He told Lamole to suck his, you know what?
Oh yeah, well that'll happen. All right, that's a fan account, by the way. Like that's an Uber fan account. Good follow. Right? Okay, fine. So Passan writes that shortstop has been the black hole, and he says if Bo Bichette is on the market, there might not be a better fit at the deadline. Bo Bichette?
Yeah, that would make some noise.
He said it doesn't hurt that Blue Jays general manager Ross Atkins has spent a lot of time. He started in Cleveland, came up with Mark Shapiro and crew. With the Cleveland's going... Should rookie Kyle Manzardo continue to struggle, adding another bat at DH would also go a long way to lengthening the lineup. And depending how Gavin Williams progresses, perhaps a mid to back end of the rotation starter would help. Why not all of it? Now, I know that's probably not going to happen. You can't get all three of those things. A DH, which I'm fine with Naylor and Fry just kind of rotate. I'm fine riding David Fry out till the wheels fall off, to be honest with you. So you rotate those guys, that's fine. I got to have a starter. I am so completely entrenched that you have got to go get me a 3 to 5 starter.
So when I read that article, I was thinking, would you rather have Bichette or a starter?
That's do you want to post that as our 2 for Tuesday?
Because I could make an argument for both.
Post that as our first 2 for Tuesday. Let's do it. Would you rather have it to trade? And you could put in there, Jeff Passan has brought up Bo Bichette. And I'm not saying that this is likely. Let me look up his contract. Because didn't he sign a new deal? Oh, my God. Go get me Bo Bichette, buddy. 3 years, $33 million. He's got a base salary of $11 million.
How long is his contract?
You would have him over the next 2 years at 12 and 17.
Get him here.
They avoided arbitration for this year, signing him to this extension. Oh, buddy.
So when I'm wording this question, though, because I don't want to just put starting pitcher, like you would have to get like what, a 2, a 3.
Yeah, we're not asking for an ace, right? Like you could put mid-rotation guy.
Mid-rotation starter.
Something like that. Mid-rotation starter. Bichette this year, obviously not having a great year. 236, 4 home runs, 25 RBIs. In most meaningful categories, he's not even in the top 100. He is tied for 86th in RBIs. That's it. 38 strikeouts, 12 walks. He's got more strikeouts than he has RBIs. That's usually not a good recipe for success there. So maybe okay, here's my thing on Bichette. I still think he's a really good player, right? Is it starting to just catch up that the Blue Jays aren't good? Like the futility of that situation? Would that be a move of more name than substance? Possibly. But you want to know what? I mean, I would be excited about that. Now, to the question about a starter, because, okay, let's start from this, right? You're talking about an everyday player. Like, let's say that they do pull this trade off and they go get Bo Bichette, okay? That's number one. You have an everyday guy. He's going to be your starting shortstop. As opposed to a guy that'll be your mid-rotation guy. He'll pitch every 5th day. Do you get enough juice out of that squeeze? I don't know the answer to that question. So I would tell you, Ryan, I still lean towards the starter. You sent that poll out, right? Why do I not see it on Twitter?
Twitter's bugging today.
Is it bad? All right, I was gonna say I was gonna retweet it, but I don't see it.
You have to refresh. It's
I'm refreshing like a madman. Yeah. I see it at the show. At least we're up live on that. Appreciate everybody joining us this morning as always. Twitter,
and some of my tweets
Twitch,
are showing up. It's
YouTube. Oh, I got it. Yeah. I got it now. All right, we're good. I got it now. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still going starter. I'm still going with a starter. And I think, again, I like Bo Bichette. I think there might be a little more name recognition there than actual substance with how he's playing right now. You want to write off that he's not playing well just because Toronto is bad? I don't know. But you also talk about that upgrade where, we can't go back to the 90s lineup where 1 through 9, you have guys that hit, right? There's going to be some sort of just downfall, right? Usually it's catcher, right? There's 2 schools of thought. Catcher, you can get away with defense and how you call the game. Sometimes even now with shortstop. And it's tough because you watch Bobby Witt and you watch some of these shortstops that are just amazing, right? But that's one that if you just got a really good glove there, then you kind of maybe accept that the bat's not quite there. But then you factor in that, you're still missing an outfield. It's not like you have murderer's row. It's not, you don't have the 1927 Yankees here, where you have a couple of positions that you can deal with. So if you feel like you can upgrade that bat at short, and it's a guy that can be here for a couple of years. Because the other thing, the Guardians minors, they have some outfielders. They got a lot of middle infielders, too. And you're trying to fit some of these guys in, maybe a little playing out of position. There was a lot of discussion that if push came to shove, you could always move Andres Gimenez back over there. And he's a platinum glove winner. He's doing just fine at second base, but if you found a second baseman, move him on over. You go get Bo Bichette, which Jeff Passan brought up this morning. You got your starting shortstop for the next 2.5 years. What would it cost, though? What would it cost?
That's what I was wondering. What if you had to move on from? Let me ask you this. What if you packaged something like?
Do you want to know a name that just came to my mind? John Kenzie Noel. He hadn't been up yet. So he is raking down there at AAA.
Do you think this is purely prospects, or you think they would want somebody?
No, I think they're in a rebuild. Okay. I think they're in a rebuild.
Okay.
The tough one for Toronto is, are they really going to let go of Vladdy? That is one that signifies to the entire Toronto fan base, yeah, we're in a full rebuild here. And for that, and a lot of times, baseball teams that know that they're entering this full-on, 3-year rebuild, they don't even want guys at AAA. They want guys at AA or single A because they know we're not even going to try to compete here for 2 years. We don't want these guys having to come up. We don't want to have to get their service time started here. So they might even want guys further down the line. And then, I don't know, oh man, who's, not Petey Halpin. There's a couple other guys at like Lake County, like maybe those. And I go back to this. And anybody that is hesitant on this kind of stuff, I just bring up the names that we all remember. Clint Frazier, Justice Sheffield, Alex White, Drew Pomerantz. Like, you traded away these guys, and they amounted to nothing. And it's not me crapping on any of the names that I would bring up or anything like that. You go now. Now is your time to go.
Where's Clint Frazier? Playing banana ball or something?
He's an independent ball. I'm not trying to knock the guy, but he's an independent ball. He's out of Major League Baseball. Not even there anymore. Let it go. Go get this guy. Whether it's Bichette or a mid-level start, go get them. I'm ready to go. The other thing I will say is if you believe that Josh Naylor is going to sign an extension here, your infield is set. Andres Jimenez is not going anywhere. Jose Ramirez will never go anywhere. I'll make sure of that. He's never going anywhere. Go get a shortstop for a couple of years. You don't got to worry about it. And I understand that, yeah, you want to continue to develop some of your guys and all that. You've got the first overall pick coming. Whether it's Condon, where he's going to be an outfielder potentially, or the Bazana guy, and he's an infielder. Well, you know the Guardians, so move him to the outfield. That's fine. Do that.
Center field.
Tyler Freeman. Hey, man, there ain't no spot for you. Get on out there. Buy a new glove. All good, man. Like, they'll move guys around as they need. You don't need, and then that's kind of my thing on John Kenzie Noel. If you don't know who he is, he's down in AAA. He's a third baseman.
What about DeLauder?
Chase DeLauder's another one. What? Outfielder.
Juan Brito.
DeLauder's over that foot thing, though, right?
I think, but he's just...
Like, he broke the same metatarsal, but then they said it wasn't as bad. Sure. I'd do it. And again, it's different than the Guardians. They made these picks on some of these guys. They want to see them develop. Now is the time to strike. The iron is hot. Get after it and go make this trade.
So, but I can't see them making both. So it comes down to...
That's perfect 2 for Tuesday, then. You get one or the other. Which one would you do?
And I think I'm with you leaning starting pitching. I think that's the biggest glaring hole. And at the end of the day... I'm
entrenched in that. It's going to take a lot for me to get out of that, man.
And I agree. I think at that point, a lot of the attraction there starts with the name. And then also, I'm not sure that moves the needle for me right now more than a starting pitcher when you get into these late playoff games.
I had the stat yesterday. I didn't bring it up. So the Guardians as a team have the 4th best ERA in baseball. You go, that's great. You know where the starters are at?
Yeah, probably I'd say bottom 5.
18th.
That's honestly surprising.
They have a 5 ERA as a starting rotation. That's just, that's how ungodly insane your bullpen has been. But you know, and again, it's a tough thing because it's like, you're right, this is the sexy move. This is the one that gets your name going, all that kind of stuff. And it is an upgrade. Again, I like Brian Rocchio. That's an upgrade there. And would you call on Ross Atkins to go do us a favor here, man? I mean, and he's got to do the best thing for his team. But the fact that there's a line of communication there, I think, starts to grease these wheels a little bit.
If we got Bo Bichette and you're sitting here and I knew, like, 1, he's just as good defensively, and then 2, he's going to move the needle. Like, he's going to hit way better than Rocchio. He's going to hit way better than Arias. He's going to provide more run production. Then sure, I would consider, but it's like, I don't know. Is that a guarantee more so than it would be a guarantee to get a mid-rotation starter? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I would lean the
I forgot about Valera. He's still down there. I got to tell you, a guy I would not give them is Joey Cantillo. I'm just rolling through. So here's the prospect rankings for the Guardians this year. Chase DeLauder, he's at AAA. He's ready to go. Well, he'll be here next year. Manzardo's already up. Jason Chiriot, also an outfielder, but he's only at single A. Ralphie Velasquez is also down in single A. Espino is hurt. Mention Juan Burrito. Valera, Alex Clemmie, Angel Martinez, Joey Cantillo are all your top 10 prospects. Dude, that's a lot. I'd give him 2 of those guys. If they really came calling, and they said, dude, that's just so hard. Because you know what they're going to ask for. They're going to ask for 2 of those guys. They're going to want a position guy and a pitcher. That's it. So would you give them Alex Clemmie and Juan Brito? Would you give them Velasquez and Brito? Those 2 position guys. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, are you willing to call and make these? That's the way of this. And also, baseball has to do this. Where is this team going to be in 2 years? Are they going to be competitive again? And when I go back to, you got some key guys locked up. You hope to get Kwan and Naylor locked up. I just want this on the record. I'm going to Stephen Kwan this year and go, do you want a 7-year deal? Here you go. Yeah. You know, like these early deals with Bobby Witt. We're going to get rid of arbitration. Here's 7 years. Here's $80 million.
If you have to pick
probably
one,
more than that.
If you truly have to pick between Naylor and Kwan, you're going to Kwan.
There's not even a question on that. And I like Josh Naylor. I'm not, but there's no question on that. So they have to weigh all of that as they get ready to go and potentially make these trades. And I'm not saying that Jeff Passan wrote this morning, the Guardians are going to go get Bo Bichette. He just said that makes a lot of sense. And also, it's easier when you are in a fire sale like the Blue Jays, I think, will be, right? And if they do move on from Vladdy, God, please don't let him go to the Yankees. Just, God, please don't let that happen.
How could that,
that's what I'm saying, man.
Welcome to baseball.
Could you imagine that?
Just have him go to the Dodgers.
I don't want to go in there. It's just I don't.
But you would rather have him the Dodgers than the Yankees.
Oh yeah, of course. The AL versus the NL. Yeah, keep him away from the. Also, you got to watch what the Royals are going to do.
So does this change your mind, Matt? If I could promise you that Gavin Williams comes back and he's a borderline.
He's Gavin Williams of last year.
He's a 2 guy.
Sure.
He's a certified 2 guy. Because I'm not going to sit here and say he's an ace.
Yeah.
Does that change it for you?
A little.
I think I'm still going pitching, man.
I'd still probably lean pitching though. I would. You and I have discussed this a lot. Who's your 3-game starters? Bobby for sure.
At this point right now, it's Ben Lively.
It's got to be Ben Lively. And it just comes back to even starting tonight. God, we should have put him in the boost. I need something out of Tristan McKenzie tonight, man. And I feel like his last couple of starts, he's battled. Do you know, and I'm shooting from the hip here.
It's cool. 9 strikeouts.
I don't think Tristan McKenzie has won a game.
I think he's 1-2 or 1-3.
I'm talking about his month of May.
Oh.
Yeah, in the month of May, he had 6 starts in the month of May. His only decision was a loss.
It's because he's on pace for 70
walks. He keeps walking. He's walked at least 3 guys in 5 out of those 6 starts in the month of May. And that's what I'm saying. He nibbles, he gives up the home run, but you and I know how good. By the way, you want to know something crazy? All those other 5 games. So the one loss he had was against the White Sox. The other 5 games, the Guardians won all those games. He just didn't get the win. So he battles, he gives you a little bit, but he's not good enough to just shut it down. Man, would that be great. Man, would that be great if he just went out and smoked their ass tonight. 8 strikeouts, 1 hit, 7 innings, turn it over to Gaddis and Classic.
I want to see us go. I know this is unlikely, but I want to put on a statement. Game 1 of this series at home.
Yeah.
You go right after Seth Lugo and get him out in 5 innings. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to send that to the Royals. And then again, it's all that good momentum that kicks you back to this team.
You sweep, Royals are 7 games back.
The other thing,
actually more than that, because you're getting wins while they're getting losses.
It almost counts for 2. It does, because you're knocking them back and you're coming up. That's why this game is so important. The other thing is, as all of this stuff is starting to percolate a little bit here and starting to get rolling, you know that every major league team's weeks ahead of this. Now that we are starting to get some of the all right, we're getting into trade season now. The team's been working on stuff for a while. I think that ramps up. As they continue to play extremely well, it's going to just do nothing but ramp up even more, even further. And I eventually, you know what I want? I want them to just be at a point I want to make this to a thing where they have no choice but to make a move. You'd be doing a disservice to this team, this fan base, if you didn't do something.
And I already think granted, the trade deadline isn't for over a month.
Yeah, we got
which
plenty.
Is fine, but unless things go south from here in a month's time, which I don't think is likely.
Sure.
You have to. You have one of your best starts in franchise history. What else do you want from this team?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying is I want to get these wins now. I want to get after it while we can. And the pressure will be there. Inherently, it's going to be starting to fall back here on Antonetti and Chernoff. And I don't think they can, the other thing is setting the franchise up and what you do for the future. Are you in a surprise place right now? Yeah. I think this was supposed to be like year 2 or 3 of a rebuild. You got a rookie manager. This was supposed to be a bit of a feel-out type of year. Well, sorry. We fast-tracked it.
It's like the opposite of the Cavs.
We're here.
It's the opposite of the Cavs. We're ahead of schedule.
Here. We're in it. Continue it. Ride. It's a little like David Fry. Ride this until it bucks you off. Get back up and get back on. I don't care if you were saying, well, we're really going to compete in 2026. You're competing now. You're in this.
You're borderline dominating.
Oh, yeah. And that, again, one piece is not going to flip things. You know what I mean? It's not something that if you added Bichette or you went and got a 2-3 starter type of guy, it's not like all of a sudden all the betting outlets and everybody in baseball is going to go, man, the Guardians are it now. It's just something to fortify. It's something to just give you. You have now unequivocally identified your issues. You have found out the weak parts of this team. Why do you think they put the trade deadline where they do in sports? It's because you got to identify what you need, and then you can go out and get it done. And with the Guardians who have pieces that can do this, and also feel good about giving up a top 10 prospect, you're going to get another one in a month when you go to the draft. Whoever you pick at 1 will instantly become a top 20 prospect. And you just hope you make the right pick and you can move on from there. So I think it's going to happen. I'm excited about that. I really want to see. I think it's just going to continue to mount too. The excitement over all of it, which is going to be great. Well, speaking of excitement and making the right pick, we've done that a few times here at Big Play. And I know Ken Miles has done that. He's going to join us. Ken from Big Play. He is the owner of Seize the Gray, who is the Preakness. Is it champion, Ken? Is it just the winner? I'm going to say champion because you guys won the whole thing with Seize the Gray. Ken Miles joining us this morning. Champion, right? It's what it's got to be.
Look, it sounds good. Champion, winner,
yeah,
stud, star, stallion. Seize the Gray.
It's where it's at. We got a lot to talk about, Ken. Obviously, the Belmont coming up this weekend. A little different. It's in Saratoga. I want to talk to you about that, Ken, but you got to take me back to that Preakness, man. We were all watching. We discussed. We had you on after the Derby, and you guys had that really tough decision about getting the Derby or not. You guys get into the Preakness. You go wire to wire. Watching that race was so much fun. As an owner being there, I'm assuming, Ken, that's got to be one of the greatest moments of your life. That had to be so awesome.
Without sounding corny, my wife and I both said, yeah, that absolutely was one of the top moments of our life. It was a surreal experience. For those that watched, it was a rainy Saturday. And one of the things that horse people will tell you is bet the gray on a rainy day. And sure enough, but a little backstory. So our jockey, Jaime Torres from Puerto Rico, is the youngest jockey in the history of the Preakness at age 25 to have won.
Wow.
But this is our trainer is Wayne Lucas, legendary trainer. And this is how cool Wayne is. When Jaime was 18 in Puerto Rico, he decided he wanted to be a jockey, which is really late. So he went to apprentice school. He was really good. Traveled to the United States, went to Mr. Lucas and said, I'd love to work in your barn. Got a job mucking stalls. Said, please, could I ride some of your practice horses? And he did. He was always the first one there, last one to leave. And so Wayne said, all right, I'm going to put you on a couple practice horses. And he rode, did really well. And then we gave Wayne Seize the Gray. And he said to Jaime, we call him Jamie, let go and do some practice runs with him. And the horse just took to Jamie. Jamie took to him. And next thing you know, they got a race and won. And that it led up to us being in the Preakness. Well, after we won the Pate Mile on the day of the Derby, which you referenced, we knew we were going to the Preakness. And all the top jockeys in the country, really probably the world, were calling up, their agents were calling up Wayne Lucas saying, hey, I'm sure you want us to ride your horse in the Preakness. I mean, this is one of the biggest races in the world. And he said, absolutely not.
Wow.
We're sticking with Jamie Torres. And Jamie did his job wire to wire, as you said, and changed his life and all of ours as well.
That can talk about that relationship, because again, for novice people that just watch the horse racing, we know that there are some legacy jockeys and guys, John Velasquez that's won how many derbies and all that, but there's got to be that little relationship between the jockey and the horse to know when to push the horse, when they need to be, where they need to be. And I just think that is such a cool story. where like I'm envisioning it, like, again, like almost like we're talking a lot of baseball, right? And you're like, oh man, we have this team, and somebody calls and go, do you want Joe Torre to come on in? And you go, you know what? No, we like the vibe that we have going here. That had to be a big move, but obviously it has paid off for you guys with Jamie being able to ride that. I think that is such a cool story.
Well, Jamie's such a cool guy, just so nice. In fact, the night before the race, we had a dinner. My wife and I hosted a dinner for our team at My Racehorse, who we'll talk about in a minute. There was about 12 of us there. And we invited Wayne Lucas and his wife. It was a late night. They said, politely, they're going to decline. They're 88 years old. But Jamie Torres and his girlfriend were coming to the dinner. So we're there at 7 o'clock, 7:30, where everyone's excited. There's no Jamie. And he's texting us, my flight's delayed in Kentucky.
Oh, no.
I don't know when I'm going to get there. So we're like, oh, this isn't good. Well, he ultimately got there late at night. Well, the next day, I didn't see him until Mary and I had already done the walk from the back stall to the infield. And I see Jamie, and he comes running up. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I missed the dinner. I'm like, Jamie, forget the dinner.
Tomorrow, man. We're not worried about the dinner.
About the race, which you're going to run in the next half hour. And he just did a spectacular job. Got to the lead and never let up.
Yeah. Ken, when you talk about the horse, what do you do for Seize the Gray? He gets that win. I'm sure there were celebratory things for you and for Mary and for Jane. What does the horse get for winning a race like that?
A lot of baths, a lot of kisses, and a lot of pictures being taken.
There you go.
But I'll tell you, these horses know.
Oh yeah.
When we were back in the stall afterwards, it was about an hour after the race. He had to go get his drug test, and Mary and I had to do a little bit of media, as did a bunch of the other owners from Seize the Gray. And we're back at the barn, and he came back, and man, his chest was pumped out. He wasn't breathing hard at all. Didn't lose any weight, which is rare because horses can lose up to 4%, 5% of body weight in a race.
Yeah.
And some of the other horses, all the horses for the Preakness were in the same barn. So we're with all Mystic Dan and all these other horses, and Bob Baffert and Kenny McPeak, the trainers.
Oh, I just picture Seize the Gray walking past all those guys going, you see that? Yeah, watch me out there, guys. I see it.
Plus, too, the tradition, like the Kentucky Derby, you have the blanket of roses at the Preakness. Yeah. It's the blanket of the Black Eye Susans. So, it was really cool. And there was only 6 of us back at the stall at that point. And the National Guard of Maryland protecting us because, the horse is now worth millions.
Yeah.
And it was just so much fun just to see him. But he knew he wasn't the least bit tired. He stood out there, wanted his picture taken, wanted to be petted, and ate a lot of hay.
Ken Miles join us, of course, big play, but also we'll talk a little bit about My Racehorse. Seize the Gray winner going forward to 2 out of 3 in the Triple Crown this weekend coming up. Ken, I did want to ask you, what has that been like to go from that win to now? You mentioned just the importance to the company, which we'll talk about coming up, but the horse, like, what's that been like over the last couple of weeks and just this basic meteoric rise for you guys?
Yeah, so it's what a lot of people think about is the Triple Crown, winning the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes, which is really hard to do because it's 3 races within a short period of time. Well, what a lot of people may not remember is we ran on Kentucky Derby Day and won the Pat Day Mile, and then came back 2 weeks later and won the Preakness, and now we're coming back 3 weeks later and running in the Belmont. And so we're kind of saying to ourselves, look, if we win, we've won sort of the Triple Crown. Obviously, it wasn't a Kentucky Derby, but we proved that we have the stamina. So that's been a backstory in horse racing circles. But, it's just what's so great is seeing the outpouring of people that have shared in the story of Seize the Gray, because there's actually 2,750 owners of Seize the Gray as a result of our microshare program at My Racehorse.
Ken, I do want to ask you, how'd you get into horse racing? Like, I feel like that's something where there's a lot of people that watch and you see all these legendary type people, you see all the stars that are out there, and we'll tease it a little bit coming up about how people actually can get involved. But for you, Ken, you and Mary, how did you guys decide that this was something you wanted to do?
Yeah, well, a good friend of mine, Michael Behrens, had this concept of starting a company that would buy racehorses and then take it to the Securities and Exchange Commission and turn it into an asset where you could sell shares like you were buying and selling stock, so that people could buy, in the case of Seize the Gray, for $125. That's all it costs for a single share. They could buy a small piece of a racehorse and experience what it was like from an owner's perspective. And because it was a registered security with the SEC, whenever there's winnings, share in the winnings.
Wow.
So the money's distributed back out in your account. And there's no other company like this. And then on top of it, what My Racehorse does is when you buy a share, every week or so, you'll get a video of how your horse is doing, training, and a narrative from the people that are working with your horse. And you see them grow up from being a yearling to a 2-year-old, learning how to run on the track, and ultimately getting in some races, and then some of the races like we've done. Well, Mary and I love the concept, and so we became major shareholders of My Racehorse, and that's how we really got in the business. And it's been an incredible ride. But Michael Behrens has surrounded himself with such great people that we're able to buy some of the top horses in the country and then offer them in micro shares to people that otherwise wouldn't have a chance to do this. Like I said, for as little as $100, you only have to buy one share and you'll never have another expense. We cover all the expenses, but we've gotten such a great reputation. We're able to get some of the top trainers. We've had Bob Baffert, we've had Kenny McPeak, Mark Blatt, Steve Asmussen, and obviously Wayne Lucas. So it's really revolutionizing the game of horse racing and making it now more of a sport for the people.
I think that's so great, Ken, that you mentioned it there. You guys, this isn't something that you're buying a horse that you'll never see on TV or anything. Like, you guys are getting top level people where I can't imagine how cool that would be to be sitting at home and seeing, again, you own a share of a horse that is racing on national television, that is racing for all of this. And then you said, you're a part owner, you get that money back, you get your share back a little bit with the winnings and all that. It's not just some horse you're going to see at some local track or something like that. These are top level horses, trainers. You guys are putting all that in. And I just think that is just so cool. I think that is such a cool concept for somebody to say, I want a little piece of this. I think, Ken, we see it a lot with like the soccer teams, right, that we hear out of Europe, right, where these communities are coming together, everybody's buying up pieces. I think that is starting to make their way over here. And what better way than horse racing? If there's people out there that are giant horse enthusiasts and they're just not just watching, you get, and again, you can bet and all that kind of stuff. You got even more skin in the game right now because you're a part owner of that horse.
Yeah, absolutely. And what it's doing is it's really opening up people's eyes to how great these animals are. And for, a lot of people just know of horse racing because of the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, and Belmont, but they didn't know how else to get involved. And this is now giving them a chance to get involved. And it's really incredible because not only do we do all this communication, but we have events where you can come out and see your horse at the stall in the barn.
Yeah.
We have, like at the Preakness, I think we had probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 people were at the Preakness. 500 people through a lottery, and then another 500 people just bought tickets on their own to go there.
Wow.
And then in the winner's circle, man, we had to have had about 100 people.
That's
so
awesome.
People say to me all the time, well, man, that was so much fun for 2,750 people. I said, no, think about it. They've got friends and family. And so the multiplier effect is tens of thousands. And so we like to say Seize the Gray is the people's horse.
He is. He's certainly our horse. We'll get to that coming up. Ken, I just want to leave this because I do want to ask you about this weekend and the excitement. You guys got posts on all that. Are we ready to kind of tease something with that? I don't want to foul us up here, but basically there's an idea out there that we might be able to even present this even further to our great friends here at Big Play, right?
Yeah. So, we'll save the majority of it.
Yes,
later.
Yes.
One of the great things about My Racehorse, and I've gotten very close to this over the course of the past few years, is we get the top-notch horses and the opportunity to buy them. And so Michael Behrens at My Racehorse and I bought a horse, and I'll just say for right now,
yes,
it's going to be the Big Play horse. Stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of fun coming up, and Wayne Lucas has agreed to train him. And so he's right now, after we bought him, headed down to Ocala, Florida. He's there right now, beefing up, and he'll be heading to Wayne's barn probably somewhere in late summer. And he's a 2-year-old, and he's good. And the game plan is to immediately put him in some races that will qualify us for the Kentucky Derby next year.
Ken, I got to ask you, I had the opportunity to talk to you yesterday. You got to tell Matt about this little horse family feud you got going on between Seize the Great and Mystic Dan, because I think that is such a cool part of this.
Yeah. So as crazy as this is, so Seize the Great, my wife and I live in Treviso Bay, down in Naples, Florida, for half of the year, and that's where we're at right now. And so all our neighbors in Treviso Bay have embraced Seize the Great as their horse, like many other people have. Well, one neighborhood over, where my sister and brother-in-law live, is called the Isle of Colliers. And Scott and Katie Hamby are one of the owners of Mystic Dan, who won the Kentucky Derby. And their neighborhood thinks of their horse as their own. So here you have one neighborhood won the Kentucky Derby, one neighborhood won the Preakness, and by the way, Mystic Dan finished second. And now the neighborhoods, which have a natural rivalry in pickleball and golf and tennis, we're letting the Belmont Stakes settle the score.
Yeah.
Well, the Belmont is actually being.
Oh, we might have lost Ken.
Oh, no, Ken.
Ken, but it timed out. We'll get him back. We'll get him back. Is that like I don't know why, right? I can picture Ken like rolling down the street of the neighborhood, just honking his horn, going, "Yeah!"
It's
I
like,
TP all their houses. I would TP every one of their houses.
It's like the Hatfields and McCoys.
Yes. When Seize the Great wins this weekend at the Belmont, I'm TPing all their neighbor. I'll TP their entire neighborhood, running it down, shaving. I do it all, man. I do it all. That's so much fun. And I want to ask Ken about this weekend, because again, they're the Belmont, but they're racing at Saratoga, so it's a little bit of a different, because Belmont's doing all those renovations, and they did draw number 1, but Mystic Dan is there, Sierra Leone is there. I mean, this is going to be a tough race. I'm not saying that the Preakness wasn't, but man, the excitement around that. And there are legal things behind this and all that kind of stuff. But folks, we're going to be able to bring a piece of this to you. Like, I think that is so freaking cool, man. You know, and I love how Ken kind of put it there about what they're trying to build there at My Racehorse. About they're not asking you for $15,000, right? They're not asking you for an exorbitant amount of money. You know what I thought of? Like, imagine if you bought that piece as a gift, like. Not even just for your, I don't know. I was thinking about my kids, right? Like how cool that would be. But like you have a father-in-law, your mother-in-law, your mom, your dad, your uncle, your aunt. They're really into horse. Say, you know what? For Christmas this year, for your birthdays, we got you a piece of this horse.
That would be pretty sweet.
Isn't that cool?
That
like
really cool.
if you knew somebody out there that was really into
especially for somebody who didn't know this was a thing.
Right. And that's where I think this is, man, I got to tell you, I think they're really on the forefront of this. I think they're really something that this is going to take over, because I mentioned it there with Ken. You see this a lot in European soccer, where there's these teams, and soccer, obviously, there's a lot of teams and a lot of leagues and all that kind of stuff, but there were communities that their team was going away. I think that's how this all started, right? That a team was going to be sold, like they were closing up shop. And the community came together, and they said, if everybody in this town just pitched in X number of dollars and bought a share, we could keep this team afloat. And they did. And then the other thing is you're a part owner. So if they win a race, you're going to get, I'm not saying probably thousands of dollars, but you're going to get a little bit back on that. But just to say that you're an owner. And then some of the other stuff that Ken mentioned about, it's not just like, like when you get to say you're a part owner of the Packers, and they do that, and like all you get is a piece of paper just to say that no, man, you're in this. You get some events you get to go to. You get these insight, the video, all that. If you got a horse racing person in your life, I mean, this just screams gift idea. Like, this is just awesome.
Everybody's going to be the gif of the guy who's standing watching all the TV.
Oh, I love this. My favorite gif. And he's standing there and he's like, dude. And especially, like Ken mentioned, the horse that, and I don't want to foul anything up here. It's not, seriously. So they have to treat this. It's obviously an animal. It's a horse, but they have to go through the stock exchange and the SEC. So they have to approve all this. And then once they do, we'll hopefully get this rolling out for the people here. But once that happens, like, it's a really bad pun, and I apologize. We're off to the races, Ryan. Like, we're off to this. Like, this is so cool. And I think it's also then that involvement, right? Because I got to tell you, I'm in. I'll buy you a share, Ryan. We're in. I'm going to watch this. Like, and now I know that there's some other websites that do this, where you get live streams of races in Kentucky and all around the world, right? You're telling me that at 5 o'clock on a Friday, it's a race I've probably never heard of, but our big play horse is there. I'm plopping on down. I'm going to sit on down.
Yeah.
And watch that and the excitement and then you're watching other races to go, oh no, man, we don't want this horse to win over here. We got to keep our eye on this. And then the final thing I got to say on this too about what Ken was talking about. these aren't some lame duck horses, man. You know, I've known Ken for a little while, man. He doesn't do bottom barrel stuff, man. We're not doing this to buy, and I'm not trying to rip some horse tracks around here. You ain't gonna see your horses down there. Yeah. You know, they ain't Northfield Park. They ain't trotting over there. They ain't there. And I love flying turns, man. I've been there a lot, but these are horses that are gonna be in real races. These are horses that you're gonna see ascend. And again, with Ken and the people that he has around him and the people at my racehorse, like this is something big. This is something big, and we got it this weekend too. The Belmont. They got number 1 post. I want to ask Ken about that. I hope he comes back.
I know. I hope he does.
Because, like, you got the number 1. Mystic Dan is there, and Sierra Leone is there. And Mystic Dan's going to be the only one that's going to be in the field for all 3 of the Triple Crown races. I try to look up the odds here. Okay. Okay, so Sierra Leone is the favorite. Then it goes Seize the Gray. Then it goes Mystic Dan. And then Mind Frame. Yeah, he's also there too. So, I mean, and just the what's that meant to the company, like, because that's now going to start getting the word out, and like this is going to be something big, and you could be in on this. You could be in on the ground level of something like this for this horse, which is just so cool. And again, I think it comes back to you're going to be getting in on a horse that like you expect to be doing something, right? Like you expect them to be in some of these big races and kind of moving forward. So I wanted to make the bigger announcement with Ken, but we just can't do it yet. Like there's a lot of legal stuff. There's lawyers, all that kind of stuff. We can't do it yet. But basically, I don't think I'm out of school, Ryan, to say that this is coming to us here at Big Play. This is something that you, the fans out there watching, if you want to get a piece of a horse, that eventually is going to happen. I don't want to say exactly what the horse is, but like Ken said, he's got this idea. He thinks he knows who it is. They just got to go through the right channels, and we'll be getting it out to the people. And it sounds like it's pretty simple as like you just head over to the website and like you want to get this and you want to do that and get dived. And we'll have all the information here. Obviously, we'll be promoting this a lot coming up, but and I don't want to say this is the first venture with this. All right, good. I'm glad Ken's back. I don't want to say, Ken, real quick, because we're talking a lot about the excitement around, you know, my racehorse and everything that's going on. Was Seize the Gray the first venture into this, or you guys had other horses too, right?
Yeah. So actually, we've had a number of horses. In fact, if you were to go to myracehorse.com, you'll see a lot of the different horses. Okay. So I think we've probably hit somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 horses that we've offered to people. And then we actually form out of My Racehorse a more traditional syndicate called Edge Racing. And that's where if you want to take it to the next level and get serious about your investment in the horse, you could be one of 4 owners.
No. Well, I mean, that's something that we were talking about with the pricing, right? Like, if you want to just get in for the 125 for a little bit, that's great. But now it's all, I don't know if you want to get a little dicey in that action, man. That's exciting.
That is exciting.
I want to ask him about the post position, man.
I know.
We're back in it. Dang it. Back in it. 1. Post position 1 is usually, I mean, like Ken was telling us about, you know, going to the Preakness, like you want to be on that inside rail, but sometimes some horses don't really like that, or sometimes I'll figure out, man. I just think this is so cool.
It is.
I think it's so cool of where we're at. Ken, I want to ask you about this weekend. So obviously Belmont, it's different because it's at Saratoga now, so it's flipped over a little bit. But you guys got post position 1, right? Or is Ken back? I thought he clicked.
Loading.
Loading.
Pending.
We'll get there.
Pending.
We'll get there.
Pending.
It's all right. It's exciting stuff. So honestly, too, today with Ken, he was like, I got to do this today because he's leaving for Saratoga tomorrow. So that's pretty cool.
So why is it moved?
They're doing like renovations at Belmont.
Okay.
Like this was planned, and I want to say I don't think it's there next year either. I think it's moved for 2 years for some reason. This will be the first time due to renovations for Belmont Park. Dude, talk about, you know, building up stadiums and stuff like that. The New York governor announced a $455 million renovation plan for Belmont Park. For the interim, with construction expected to last into 2025. So that's what I heard. I think it was this year and next year they're going to do it Saratoga because they're doing all that with Belmont, but then it'll be back. So Seize the Gray 8-1, Mystic Dan 5-1, Sierra Leone 9-5. And then Mind Frame is 7-2 on the morning lines there for Seize the Gray. He's finally got his own Wikipedia. That's exciting.
That's how you know.
You know you made it. The horse has his own Wikipedia. He's a good looking horse. He's a good looking horse. He's a gray horse. I like it. But yeah, I mean, to be able to give this back to the fans, which I think is just the way that sports can be involved when it is so much about the fans and being able to get them involved even more than, just like, we go place our wagers or you put $5 on this horse. Like, to be able to say that you got like a real buy-in on this horse, like this is part of your horse. I got to say it again, I think it's going to be just a fantastic gift for that horse racing person. You'll say, hey, I bought you a piece of a horse. Like, how cool is that? All right, Ken, to this weekend, you guys have post position 1. Sierra Leone is there. Mystic Dan is there. How you guys feeling? Get ready to go for the Belmont this weekend.
Well, and again, sorry, I don't know what's going on with the internet connection here. I hope that's not a bad omen. But yes, post position 1, when you have a lot of horses, is a tough spot because they all collapse in on you. You got to get a fast start. There's only 10 horses at the Belmont this year, and it's being run at Saratoga, which is first time ever. Normally it's up at Belmont Park, but they're undergoing a renovation, so they moved it to Saratoga. It's a shorter track, and so the key for Seize the Gray is in that post position 1, he'll run the shortest route. Mm-hmm. The horses on the outside have to run the furthest route. The key is for Jamie to get a quick start and get right to the lead. And if we get there, he did wire to wire before.
Right.
So it looks like right now it's going to be a rainy day, so we might not have another sloppy track. It's miserable for the fans, but Seize the Gray likes running in the rain.
I like that, and especially having a horse, because Ken, talk about that. Some horses like coming through the pack. Others like to be out front, right? There's all that just kind of difference with what the horse wants to do. Then you mentioned how Jamie can handle them there, but sounds like Seize the Gray knows what to do when he gets out to a lead.
Yeah, so the key too is, and we've talked about this before, these are 3-year-old horses. And again, you only get one shot at the Derby, Preakness, and Belmont. It's only for 3-year-olds, and they haven't run as many races. And so these are all the top horses. And they're not used to being in the back.
Yeah.
Well, if they're in the back, they're getting dirt kicked on them for the first time. And for some of these horses, first time it's ever been mud. And literally, you've probably seen it. The jockeys, they have to peel off their goggles.
They got like 3 goggles, right? They got one up top, one on their neck, one they're wearing. Yeah, it's like, you got to keep it going.
They just peel them off. Well, that horse has taken so much mud in his face that sometimes, again, they've never experienced it, so they fall back. So the key is to get to the lead. What I can tell you is in the winner's circle after the Preakness, we were amazed. There wasn't a speck of mud on Jamie or the horse, but every other horse was covered head to toe, and the jockeys were just covered head to toe. And I was covered head to toe after walking in the mud on the track with our horse, but not Seize the Gray or Jamie. They were clean.
That's exciting. All right, everybody watch this weekend. We'll be rooting hard for Seize the Gray. Ken, can't wait to make the official announcement coming up with My Racehorse. People can still check the website out, though, right? They can still get on there, check out some of the horses.
Go to My Racehorse, start learning about it.
Yep.
You're going to want to have your figures ready to go when we make some major announcements. But, go check out My Racehorse and watch the Belmont on Fox this Saturday. Time of the race will be about 6:40, and the Belmont show will start at about 4 o'clock. So root for Seize the Gray.
There it is. We'll watch it for you guys as well, Ken. Always appreciate it. Enjoy the hell out of this weekend and bring us home another one, all right?
We will. Thanks, Matt.
There you go. It's Ken Miles. Let's go, man. That is so cool. I think that is so awesome that just even at this moment, you have something to root for, right? We're all about our friend of show, Justin Lauer, right? He made the U.S. Open. You're excited to watch that for hometown. You got a hometown horse. Not really, but I guess as close as you're going to get to a hometown horse running this weekend. Best of luck to Ken and his team, man. And again, I cannot wait to make that announcement. Are they just going to call it the Big Play horse? Big Play? Is that what they're going to call it?
I have no idea.
We probably shouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
SEC's going to come kick this door and be like, you're screwing this deal up. It's exciting. MyRacehorse.com. Check it out. Get ready to go. I think what Ken's talking about, go get that account, get lined up, get ready to go, because when we make this announcement, you want to be on it and good to go. All right, we got plenty coming up in hour 2. We got to talk Joel Bitonio. He discussed his future. We all kind of know where it's at when it comes to Joel Bitonio. So we'll get to that to hour 2. Baseball, yet again, another gambling issue. This one, I actually love it. From what baseball is doing. And I think the rest of the professional leagues can take a little idea.
Are you telling me you're hyping up a Rob Manfred decision?
I'm not going to give him credit for it, though. I'm going to assume that was not him because it's a good idea, so it's almost impossible that it came from our friend Rob Manfred. But we'll get to that coming up. We got the grid. We got the morning update. We'll get to time up. We'll get to the bracket. Do you got it?
Oh, I haven't looked.
We'll get to it. Our boost. I don't know. We'll get to it coming up. We got a 3-leg boost for tonight going for the Guardians, folks. Tipico is where it's at. NHL Finals, Stanley Cup Finals. You get the NBA Finals. It's all there at Tipico. Ryan, what did we do yesterday?
We hit an imperfect.
Little off-day boost parlay for us right here on the show. You get signed up, you log in. The imperfect parlay is so great. That's what we hit yesterday. So we boosted that, but you can do your own imperfect, right? Here's what we had. We had 4 games, and we just needed 3 out of the 4 to hit for us to double our money and some. Orioles smoked the Jays. The Reds smoked the Rockies. Phillies were the sweat one. They won 3-1. Then we also took the Rangers over the Tigers. That was only a 2-1 game they lost. But, folks, normally what? That would sink your parlay. Not on the imperfect, and we doubled up our money. That's where it's at Tipico. The imperfect parlay, the cashback rewards, which are just phenomenal and amazing. And you can get off to a good start with our promo code. Here's what you do. For new customers only, you deposit $150 with code Fontana150. You will get two $75 protected bets. That's how you build your bankroll. Gamble responsibly. If you have a problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But now you're off to a good little start here, and you can get going on the tennis if that's your thing, the hockey, the baseball, the WNBA, soccer, MMA, golf. I got to put $5 on our guy, Justin Lauer, man. Should I do it right now? Golf? Oh, the Memorial's this weekend. I forgot.
Yeah, Lauer's not in the Memorial, though.
No, but he's in the Open. Winner. Let me find my boy here. Find our guy.
That's going to be some heavy odds.
I don't even think he's in here because he literally won a Monday qualifier yesterday. I don't even think he's in here yet. I don't see him. So when he gets up there, I'm going to put a couple bucks on him. U.S. Open, though. Early. Scheffler, the favorite. Rory, Xander. Ooh, I really like me some Victor Hovland.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. I keep betting on Max Homa, too. I think he's going to win one eventually. Can I get you just, like, shooting from the hip here? I'm putting a couple bucks on Shane Lowry. I feel like we're due for, like, an out-of-nowhere U.S. Open winner here. I'll tell you what, I'm going to find one plus 15,000 to put some money on here. Davis Riley just got a big win. Michael Thorbjornsen, he's the guy that won through the PGA, the NCAA thing. Something like that. I think I'll put a couple dollars on some of these guys. Maybe Sepp Straka plus 15,000.
I just realized we got to put our other 2 for Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, we didn't do that one. Promo code Fontana150 gets signed up with Tipico. New customers only. You got a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Second 2 for Tuesday. You go to the game, you only get one hot dog or a beer. Because I had to go, I was talking about when we took the kids, and it was the first time in a long time I have not had up. And my wife was like, oh, we should grab a beer and just split one. But, you know, kids started running around, so I left the ballpark without having a beer. I did have a hot dog. I did have a dog. But when you go to a baseball game, you only get one. You get a hot dog or a beer. That's it. And you can, like, supplement. You'll get your peanuts and your Cracker Jacks and everything else. You only get one. You get a hot dog or an ice cold beer. Which one you picking? Vote on that at Matt Fontana Show. Let's catch our break. Morning update. Grid. Batonio. All coming your way next. Hour 2 upon us right here on Big Play.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
It's just, that's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Welcome to Big Play, a sports media team that started back in 2014, and now we're not in a garage. Look at us, incorporating some of Cleveland's favorite sports personalities, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland. Coming to you live from the shores of Lake Erie and Burke Lakefront Airport, join Team Big Play for all the best sports talk in Ohio. Check us out on social media at Big Play, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland.
Anthony Schlegel, just how physical he was. And then you saw the girth and the power and everything he was bringing to the table, especially when he was a nice beefy 255 playing middle linebacker.
We were called soft last year. You don't want to be soft, especially when you come to the playoffs. So that's going to be a process throughout this season of establishing us as a harder team here in the
How does an Ohioan build the perfect parlay?
Who's got something?
Big guys looking for long odds. The kids in Columbus are covering better than anyone, and at even odds. If it's even, I'm leaving. Listen, our championship DVD starts today, all right? Dude, I just got an invite to a Cincy playoff watch party. Shut up. Cincy, State, Cleveland, the perfect parlay. I'm a genius.
For the best odds on Ohio sports, bet with your cojones.
It is Spanish, dummy.
Bet with Typical Sportsbook.
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
Let's jump into it. Like a little bit of the morning update. We're also going to do this later, too. We're going to go through 10 Cent Beer Night. It's Time Hop. We'll do it after Time Hop. We'll get to the grid. But I'm just literally going to read through the background of everything that happened with 10 Cent Beer. We're doing a little history lesson for everybody. We'll get to that coming up. Morning update. We got to discuss Joel Bitonio coming up as well. Ryan, please take it away. All the stories for your Tuesday.
All right. Well, a massive series coming up for the Guardians. That begins today at Progressive Field at 6:40. Guardians, a 3-game series versus the Royals. Tristan McKenzie on the mound. For the Royals, it's going to be tough as AL Cy Young favorite Seth Lugo gets the nod. He's 9-1 Matt with a 1.72 ERA this season.
Ah, man, is he good. I mean, the thing is, when you look at Seth Lugo, I think number one, I'm happy that he's at least a right-handed pitcher, and that helps a little bit for the Guardians as you're going to go through this. But yeah, he's been just straight filth. I just want to look at his game log here. I was looking at it this morning. How about the month of May? Do you know he gave up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 starts? He gave up 8 runs. 8 runs in 7 starts over the month of May. He did 8, 7, 6, 7, 6 and 2/3 innings, and he had 5 wins in the month of May. He's really good. Now, the thing is, the Guardians have not seen him yet. Wait, have we even seen the Royals?
No, it's the
That's
first time
right. We
we've
haven't
seen
even
the
seen the Royals.
Yep.
So weird. But can I poke you a hole on Seth Lugo right here? Do you know who he beat in the month of May? Toronto. Yeah. Milwaukee. Okay.
Milwaukee's good.
The Angels.
Not good.
The A's.
Not good.
The Rays.
Okay.
And then he beat Minnesota. So some of those wins, and before that in April, he beat Houston, the White Sox twice, and Detroit. I'm just talking crap on Seth Lugo. He's very good. He's got a lot of wins against some really bad teams. I'll tell you what. Go back to April now. He played when they played Baltimore, he gave up 9 hits and 4 runs in 5 innings worth of work against the Orioles. Now, that being said, that was his last loss, which is over a month and a half ago. But still, and his only loss. You're right. That's a good point. It's his only loss. Trying to poke some holes in here. Seth Lugo's very good. Guardians get after it. Tonight, do you feel like there's going to be a pitcher's duel with McKenzie? Do you feel like bats are going to show up a little bit? Should I take the over
the Guardians are to win, I think you're going to need the bats to show up.
All right, I will do the odds at the end of the show as I normally do. I'll run through the trends a little bit later in the show, but get after it tonight, guys. I just love the fact that we all get to watch fun baseball tonight. It's a meaningful game. I can't shake this vibe that I got that Tristan McKenzie's going to turn around tonight. It's wishful thinking probably more than anything, but Get after it here, Tristan. Let's go.
All right. Well, the Cavaliers are indeed still searching for their next head coach to
Yes.
replace J.B. Bickerstaff, and they have now received permission to interview Minnesota Timberwolves assistant Mike Norrie for the head coach position. Norrie is an Ohio native from Middletown and spent the last 3 seasons as assistant coach for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Well, and he's been the one you've seen on the sidelines because Chris Finch had that patella tendon tear, so he's been sitting by, and so you've seen a lot of Mike Norrie. They also got a permission to interview Chris Quinn. So now that puts us at 4? Is it 4 or 6? Right? You got Borrego, Atkinson, Quinn, Mike, and Norrie. And I feel like I'm missing some other people. Am I not?
I think that's it.
I think that's it for now. And I would expect another...
Did you say Atkinson?
Yeah, Atkinson, Borrego are first, and now you bring in Mike Norrie and Chris Quinn. And again, I think as the tiers go through, you would say, okay, these are our top 2 guys. These might be second. And also, you got to remember, these could be for assistant jobs, too. I don't know if Mike Norrie's going to leave where he's at in Minnesota. I don't know if Chris Quinn, but like, oh no, because they did Johnny Bryant and there were 2 others because Johnny Bryant was on that list because he's Utah. He had that connection with Donovan Mitchell, and who's the other guy? Cavs coaching rumors.
David Blatt?
No, not that guy. And yeah, the reports are out that they're going to, get that done before before they give Donovan his extension. Who the hell is it? Dude, this is gonna. Oh my god, it's gonna really annoy me. Because there's one other. It was all in 2s, right? Atkinson and James Borrego. Dude, seriously, call me insane. I'm not insane.
This is from 15 hours ago. It says it's just Atkinson, Borrego, Chris Quinn, and Johnny Bryant.
Maybe it
and
was
now
just,
Mike Norrie.
And okay, so maybe it was just Johnny Bryant. I thought there was one other one.
No, 5.
Forget 5. Maybe that's what's screwing me up. I don't know. Anyway, regardless, I expect there to be a couple more. You'll make your decision. You'll present it to Donovan Mitchell. You'll get working on these trades. At this point, do you feel any different that Kenny Atkinson is not the favorite? Do you feel like it's...
Matt, I have no idea.
I have no idea either. Really don't.
Straight up.
I don't know what they're looking for. I really don't. You got to talk to these guys. Offensive sets. How do you... we'll see. We'll see. I think it'll come here in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, next couple of weeks. I think it'll happen. I think it'll be the next 10 days. I think you have a hire in the next 10 days.
I do. See why not.
Yeah.
No.
Got to get moving. Then you start going to the Donovan Mitchell extension. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, Matt. Well, Pat McAfee is under some fire. And this comes after remarks on his show in which he referred to Caitlin Clark as a quote-unquote white bee.
Yeah.
Now he apologized, quote, I shouldn't have used white as a descriptor of Caitlin Clark no matter the context. Even if we're talking about race being a reason for some of the stuff happening, I have way too much respect for her and women to put that into the universe.
You know, everybody is obviously with what happened to Caitlin Clark, and we spoke on it, and, you know, everybody saw the clip. Monica McNutt taking it to Stephen A. Smith on that yesterday.
Did you see his and, oh gosh, what's her face? The host. Gosh, I can't remember her name.
Oh, Molly?
Yeah. Molly Quinn,
yeah. I mean, listen, I understand. Like, there's 2 schools of thought. Have all of us covered the NBA for 3 years, like what Monica was trying to say to Stephen A. Smith? Not necessarily. But it's also, there's another side of the coin of like, yeah, you have this rise right now, and in part of it is Caitlin Clark. So I understand that there are some of these other players that don't, take offense at. Do you know about that Kennedy girl? She's gotten kicked off 2 other teams for disruptive behavior and how she acts. So, like, that's not that shocking. If anything, too, you're in the news. You're back in the news cycle. You lead a lot of shows with this. I said yes. WMA's got to realize, and the players got to realize, she is your golden goose. I don't know what else to tell you. She is your golden goose. You want to welcome her to the league? That's fine. But when you get the pay increase, when you're getting all these other things, in part because of her, but don't ever forget the biggest part is her. Yes, Angel Reese is important. Angel Wilson is important. Sabrina's important. Breanna Stewart's important. It's just, call it for what it is. And I will fully admit, I don't cover the WNBA. Ryan, you know me. I don't really like basketball. I do the NBA, and when I have to talk college basketball on ESPN, I hate college basketball more than anything in this world, and you know that.
That's crazy.
You know that.
I do know that.
Stand college basketball. Basketball's not really my thing. So, like, I enjoy the NBA. I watch it because it's the premier league and all that kind of stuff. And I'll dabble here on the WNBA, but I'll be the first one to tell you. If you're looking for breakdown stuff, it ain't going to come
Can I
from there.
convert you into a Cincinnati Bearcat college basketball fan? Because they're on the come up. Next year, I'm telling you, next year's going to be special.
Ohio State sucks.
They're
not good.
Next year, Cincy's going to be special.
All right, man.
Words.
Give me some t-shirts.
Mark
I'm
my
all for
words.
it. Go Bearcats.
All righty, Matt. Well, we wanted to talk about this. This came out yesterday. San Diego Padres infielder Tusapizza Marcano. He's facing a potential lifetime ban for betting on baseball after the MLB received information that he wagered on games involving the Pittsburgh Pirates when he was with the team last season.
I actually want to give credit
to Rob Manfred.
To baseball. I guess if it's got to go to Rob Manfred, I love this rule. You can bet on any sport that you want except baseball. You bet on baseball, you get a 1-year suspension. You bet on your own team, you're gone. That is so easy and simple. You want to go bet on cricket? You want to go bet on basketball, soccer, whatever else. And that, I would say, would suffice, right? You're taking this straight out of the Pete Rose book. Don't bet on baseball, and sure as hell, don't bet on your own team. I have no remorse for that. I have no remorse, and I guess I feel bad that a guy's career is going to come to an end. You know the game, man. And I would say, if I'm a manager, I'm Stephen Vogt, if I'm every other team in baseball, I'm sitting down with my guys, and I'm saying one thing. Don't do it. Don't do it. You want to bet on football? Go crazy, man. You want to get going on NBA playoffs? Typico code Fontana 150. Get signed up. Good. Great. Don't do it. Just don't. Your career is not worth it. Nothing is frankly worth that. And again, it's baseball understanding we're going to give you avenues. You can bet on any other sport that you want. Any other sport. Just don't do baseball, and sure as hell don't do your own team. I think the NFL is of that same mark, right? Where even when Calvin Ridley and some of those other guys got suspended, they came back around the other side, and they just sent that message. You can bet what you want. Just don't do it at our facilities. Don't do it when you're on team time, and don't bet on your own sport.
I'm not sure if you know the answer to this or not, Matt. Are you allowed to bet on, like, for Tusapizza's instance, is he allowed to bet on college baseball?
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
Korean baseball, probably. I just think it's from my understanding of what I read yesterday, he cannot bet on major league nor minor league games. That's it, because it's all Major League Baseball controls, right? Tristan McKenzie can't go bet on the Lake County Captains, right? Jose can't place a wager on the Rubber Ducks.
Can anybody?
Yeah.
You can bet on... Can you?
I would think so. I'm shooting from the hip here that Typico might have it. Because again, Typico, it just doesn't say MLB. Sometimes it just says baseball. I know you could bet the Korean League on Typico. Hang on. All sports, baseball. No, they just have Japan and MLB. But, again, same thing. You just can't bet on minor league games, major league games, anything else. Good. I actually think that is a really concise, easy thing. Well done for baseball. I don't want to give credit to Manfred.
You have to a little bit, though.
I don't want to.
You have to.
No.
A little bit?
No.
You can't just do that.
No.
You can't.
I can do whatever I want, Ryan. No. Rob Manfred sucks. You know what else
he is
sucks?
very bad. Very bad.
You know what else sucks?
Well, it sucked yesterday. Damn. It sucked yesterday, but let's
start
rebound.
A new streak today.
Let's rebound.
Start a new streak today. We got to talk Joel Bitonio. We'll do it after the grip. All right, here's how it goes. You know how it works. Up and down, left and right. Players had to play at least one game for each of those teams. And Ryan, our statistical category, please.
5,000 career receiving yards.
Go.
Start with one.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Would you say he's the top 8 receiver all time?
No. Not all time.
But when you could think of consistency...
He's good. I'm not saying I like Larry Fitz.
But when you think of longevity, that's a debate for another day.
I'll just shoot you out of cannon right now. You want me to pause this? Stopping it. Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. I don't think there's a debate.
Calvin Johnson
is a fact.
Brown.
Antonio Brown.
Probably maybe Chris Carter.
I would listen to Chris Carter. Terrell Owens for sure. Marvin Harrison, that's a debate between him and Reggie Wayne about what they had with Peyton Manning, but I would probably put Marvin Harrison up. Yeah, but then again, man, I'm thinking about Larry Fitz, man.
I'm saying,
I think close. I think he's close.
I think when you look at the longevity of his career and the amount of balls he dropped so little,
yeah,
it's crazy to think about.
Most career receiving yards. Here's your top 10 of all. Oh my God! Did you know he's second all time
in reception?
Yeah, no yards.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he played for how long?
Here's your top 10: Jerry Rice, Larry Fitzgerald, Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, Isaac Bruce, Tony Gonzalez, tight end, Tim Brown, Steve Smith, Marvin Harrison, and Reggie Wayne. Andre Johnson, James Lofton, Chris Carter, Anquan Bolden. Julio Jones is 16. All right, man. All right. I tell you what, man. You know what?
Let's do it.
I'm sleeping on one Larry Fitz,
yes,
man.
You
I'll
are.
listen to that.
Let's
I'll
go.
listen to that.
Let's
All right,
go.
we're back on it. Here we go. Seahawks.
I mean,
Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, we can do Tyler Lockett.
Yeah. Gotta have 5, right? Gotta have 5.
Let's go Diggs.
Well, no, we can go Diggs for the Vikings. So who's another 5,000? Andre Reed?
Yeah, let's make sure we have one.
Can you give me the Google there? Will you let me Google it? There's no way Andre Reed doesn't have 5,000 career yards. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's got 13,000, Andre Reed. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Where do we want to start?
All right. I mean, let's just start with what we always do is just, okay, Randy Moss didn't play for Arizona. Did Chris Carter play for Arizona?
Didn't Adrian Peterson?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Right?
For the Cardinals?
Did he also play for the Seahawks?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't remember that.
No, he did.
He played for the Seahawks.
1,000% he did. Yep.
When?
Now, he works for the Vikings, Cardinals, and Seahawks.
When did he play for the Seahawks?
2021. He got out of Tennessee.
Oh, I didn't know it.
And went to Seattle. He only played in one game.
So should we wait and see if we
Well, okay, so what? Well, okay, so that's what I'm saying is to burn Adrian Peterson here. What do you feel?
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, and again, I for some ungodly reason, I want to picture Chris Carter in a Seattle uniform, but he didn't. Eagles, Vikings, Dolphins.
Oh, Seahawks, Vikings, Percy Harvin.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I think
Seahawks, Vikings. No, definitely. I'm just wondering again if he also then works for. No, just do that. That's all right. We're overthinking this here. Go Adrian Peterson there. Wait, no. Oh, no, you want to do... I'm sorry, you're doing the right thing. I'm sorry, you're right. First year. I'm sorry. You're right. Then Adrian Peterson. Okay. All right, okay. All right.
Titans.
Chris Johnson played for the Cardinals, did he not? Right? I
CJ 2K?
Yeah, do it. Yep. I'm Googling, but I feel pretty good about it. I'm so nervous by yesterday. Chris Johnson works. Yep.
Was he 2008 to 17 or
Correct.
2005 to 12?
I want to say 8 to 17. Yeah, 8 to 17 is correct. Yep. Okay. Titans, Seahawks. All right. Well, quarterbacks. Think through quarterbacks. Fitzpatrick. Did he play for the Titans? I don't think he did. Right? You would think at this point I would know all the teams that Ryan Fitzpatrick has played for. No, he played for the Titans. He works. Bills, Titans.
Oh,
Bills, Titans. I don't think he ever played in Seattle. No, Bills, Titans. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, one more.
All right.
Titans, Seahawks.
Legion of Boom guys. Richard Sherman never went there. God, did Cam Chancellor play anywhere after? No, he only ever played in Seattle. Man. Matt Flynn?
I don't know.
Matt Flynn? It sounds right in my head. Thinking about, like... I know he went Packers. One left for us there. We got to close this out, man.
I mean, quarterbacks, I don't think any. Not that I can think of.
No. Carlos Hyde played in Seattle, but I don't think he ever went to Tennessee. Eddie George.
I don't remember DeMarco Murray ever being in Seattle.
No.
Anthony Fursker, I don't remember him in Seattle.
No.
Jonnu Smith, no.
Jimmy Graham never played in Tennessee. Oh. Matt Hasselbeck?
Sounds right.
It sounds right to me. Do you want me to Google it or do you want to rip it?
No, we're ripping.
Rip Matt Hasselbeck there. Yes! Let's go. Well done. Yes, staring us right in the freaking GD face, man. Staring us in the face. Off to the races. Here we go. Well, speaking of some guys whose career is over, I hope Joe Bitonio. Oh, Warren Moon works Seattle, Tennessee. Well, that's a good poll, Mike. Well done on Warren Moon. Well, I hope that Joel Bitonio never works in the Grid because that means he would have gone to play somewhere else. I believe that the end of his career will be here in Cleveland. The question is that sooner rather than later? So at the golf outing yesterday, and you get to talk to players, all that kind of stuff. And Bitonio was asked a few things. And Brian, at first cut, basically where he's at with his career. It was Joel Bitonio, audio courtesy of the Browns at their golf outing yesterday. Joel Bitonio, basically where his career's at right now.
I feel like I've definitely played more seasons than I have left, but really I'm truly taking it, 1 year, one game at a time. You never know, Joe played 11 years. I'm going to 11 years now. So it's a blessing every time I get to keep playing football. It's going to dictate a lot of how my body feels and stuff and how we are as a team as well. But right now I feel good and I'm ready for this year. And I'm, hopefully, like you said, I can bounce back physically and have a great year.
You sent the tweet out, Ryan, yesterday about you are fully preparing that this is going to be Joel Bitonio's last year in Cleveland.
I think that sounded like a man who maybe not for sure, but has almost certainly made up his mind. His body, for one, doesn't have much tread left. And I think he kind of is looking at the door out of his career.
So after
especially
this season,
when you mentioned Joe played 11 years.
Yeah,
it almost seems like it's the final year.
So his deal is so much of these, the void years and all that other kind of stuff. He signed a 3-year, $48 million deal with 22 guaranteed. At the beginning of it. His base is like 1.2 this year. He's only got an option for like 3.8, a roster bonus of $3 million. He's got a lot of dead cap. They're not getting rid of him. Then he's got one more year next year at a base of 12, roster bonus and all that kind of stuff. So I could see him wanting to hold on for one more year. He's 33 years old to be 34 next year. And then there's, again, a bunch of those void years kind of built in. That's one of the fears that I always have with the Cleveland Browns. When you have all pro type level guys and you don't take advantage of what they do for that stretch of time. I love Joe Thomas. You wasted. You didn't have to worry about a left tackle for 10 years. The Browns have not had to worry about a left guard for 10, 11 years now. Now, thankfully, it's turned around better for them on the back end of Bitonio's career than it did at Joe Thomas's end. But those are things when you don't take advantage of not having to worry about Myles Garrett. Well, what does it all come back to, Ryan? You don't have a quarterback. You're spinning your wheels. You're wasting your time. And eventually, you think you got the guy, and hopefully it is and all that kind of stuff. But now, for the first time in a long time, you got to address that. And I think that flux of the offensive line, bro, it's going to look a lot different after this year.
I wonder if behind closed doors, Joel maybe went to the Browns and said, hey, listen, I'm not positive, but maybe I think this could very well potentially be my final year. Maybe he did that. Maybe that led them to draft Zach Zinter.
I don't even think he needs to say it. I don't think he needs to say it. Like, because Joel talked about it a little bit later. He said, it's all about how I feel. I mean, he said in that clip a little bit there, it's all about how he feels. And this is a guy that has had to fight through some major injuries over the last couple of years. And it's not even just that they continue to add up. It's like, you'll find this out soon, right?
Oh, dude,
as you get older,
I just messed up my hip flexor yesterday.
You don't recover. You don't recover nearly as quick. And even with all the advances and all the sports medicine, that kind of stuff, eventually you're just done. And I also think about this from Bitonio, who's a guy that has played at an extremely high level for a long time. I don't think he's going out there just to limp around and just to kind of play it out here. Do you know his career earnings in the NFL? $76 million. Now, that's before taxes and that's before fees and all that kind of stuff. But I would imagine that Joel Bitonio has made enough money that he doesn't have to work again for the rest of his life, if he chooses to, right? Whatever he wants to do, he's made a great living in the NFL. So with that being said, there's no reason for him to go. If you've made All-Pro, you've been on some semi-successful teams, you've made your money, those are all things that I think just keep like pulling you away. And I don't think
it's also very, very indicative of if you're going to play, like you mentioned with Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas couldn't ever look at his team and really think this is a winning team.
Yeah. I mean, he
totally
talked about 07, his first year in the league. They went 10-6, and Joe's even talked about it there. He said, I thought this was going to be it.
Joe Bitonio can look at this team and realize, hey, I understand I'm in the twilight of my career, but I want to go out there if I have a real chance to go win a Super Bowl.
Well, and the Browns, and he thankfully plays a position you don't need him out there practice every day. He's going to take off training camp days, and the Browns are very forefront on that, and they understand that. You do whatever, and you saw that a lot with J.C. Treader, and Joel has discussed that about watching Treader, about the week was, and Joe, early in his career, the week was just getting about to Sunday. What do I need to do to get back to Sunday? I know my job, I know what I need to do, but I just got to get to Sunday. And eventually that starts to wear thin. Joel has a family. He's got kids. That stuff starts pulling you more than anything. And you hear some players talk about it where they would say the breaking point was when they woke up and they just knew, I'm done. I don't want to go in today. I don't want to go to practice. I don't want to go watch film, and I'm done. And I respect that so much when enough is enough. The thing is, then you turn it over to, I don't think Jed Wills, Jack Conklin are here next year. I don't know if Wyatt Teller is going to be here. I don't know. Like, what do you got? You got Posick, Dwan Jones, maybe Zach Zinter, and you're going to have to piece it together. Just that monumental shift that's going to have to happen maybe after the season. Joel Bitonio, Hall of Famer? Let me run through his things here. Because, again, I think offensive line...
Unfortunately, Matt, the answer is no.
I think he's one of those guys.
Unfortunately, the answer is no. When you go look at Joe Thomas's stats compared to his, they're worlds apart.
Joel, 5-time All-Pro, 3-time second-team All-Pro, 2-time first-team All-Pro. He's made 6 consecutive Pro Bowls. You want me to do Joe Thomas real quick?
I got it right here for you.
Okay, go ahead.
So Joe Thomas has 6 first-team All-Pros.
That's as many Pro Bowls as Joel has.
2 second-team All-Pros, 10 Pro Bowls, NFL 2010s All-Decade Team, and then that goes to some stuff.
Yeah, never missed a snap, all that.
So, and he's at 167 games played. Joel Bitonio's at 144.
So here's the thing. Joe was a first ballot, don't even have to debate Hall of Famer. I think Joel Bitonio is at least worth a conversation. Now, the way that I look at this, there's a couple things when it comes to the Hall of Fame from me, and I'd like to know if people kind of agree with me on this. Number one, I will look at any Hall of Fame, and I will say the distinguished members of the Hall, the sanctity of the Hall is not who's in, it's who's out. If you let everybody in, it's not quite what I think it is, right? It's about some of these guys that don't make it, that I say give a little bit of credence to the Hall. That's number one. Number two, I don't think you deserve to be in the conversation unless you can bona fide say I was the best at my position for a stretch. Whether that's 2 years, 3 years, and I'll say the same thing in base. I think baseball Hall of Fame, did you win an MVP? Like, I think that gets you. I think Cy Young's get you in. But can you say unequivocally that I was the best at and football's probably more apt to that because you have so many different positions. Ryan, would you say that for a stretch, Joel Bitonio was the best left guard in football? I think so. Not a long stretch, but there. Then you get into the name stuff, right? Zach Martin, Quentin Nelson, some of the other really good. And I think he's in that of like, again, there's going to be a run where you're going to have to let some of these offensive linemen in from this era, right? The problem is you get wrapped up in Trent Williams because he's a tackle, right? You get wrapped up in some of Lane Johnson because he's a tackle. Jason Kelsey. There's a popularity to this. Don't make no mistake, there is. But also there's elements. Jason Kelsey was playing in Super Bowls. And Joe Bitonio's played in some playoff games. The Browns have had the turnaround. I think it's at least a conversation. I don't know if I quite shut it down to say no, but I think it'd be a hard conversation. Tony and Mary Kay, they're the ones that would present him like they presented Joe Thomas. And I obviously, I've known Tony for a long time. Him and I have talked a lot about those meetings, man. And he's told me there are guys that stand up there and they go, just sit on down. Don't even worry about it, right? Don't even think about it, right? There's some, but then he has told me that there are hour-long conversations, like knockout, drag out. They don't want to let Terrell Owens in, right? Because of this or that or whatever. There are some that are just, guys that you look at and you go, Zach Thomas really a Hall of Fame? Like, there are some that just beat you over the head. There's no question. I think Joel's going to have a conversation. He'll be there. And at least there's an honor of that, of potentially being there. Yeah. If he somehow makes All-Pro this year, then I think maybe we got another conversation to be had. But again, another year of just, injuries, the play, all that kind of stuff. We'll see. Some other things I wanted to play from Bitonio. This was a funny one that he was asked, do you think you'll be playing when they go to 18 games? So obviously this is coming down the pipe, and they asked Joel, do you think you'll actually be suiting up for an 18th game of the year? Audio courtesy of the Browns.
Hope not. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the details on that are, but I know next CBA, I would think they would get 18 games by the next CBA, but I will not be playing by then, so.
So when they added it,
I mean, they have to collectively bargain it, so I don't know the details of those talks, or I don't think the offseason program's worth an extra game if that's what they're talking about, or things like that.
That I thought was so. Again, he's joking because they're going to do it. Well, Ryan, I thought he's like they might add that next year, and Joel's like, Magic Johnson, I ain't gonna be here. I ain't gonna be here. Don't ask me. I ain't gonna be here. But with that last part where he said, I don't think that's a good deal. And the vibe that I get from the NFL is that is a crappy deal. Oh, hey, we'll get rid of this voluntary, offseason. We'll expand your training camp, but when you get to the 18th game, it's like, no, absolutely not. I don't think that's a good deal. I wouldn't take that. I always think of Inglourious Bastards. Sounds like a good deal. Would you take that deal? I'd take that deal. That's not a deal I would take, so I will say.
I know it's Tarantino's best movie.
Reservoir Dogs is so damn good, though. It's so good. And, dude, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I thought it was good, but I don't think it stands near anywhere his top 3 films.
Oh, I love Inglourious Bastards. I would listen to Inglourious Bastards being there.
Yeah.
100%. I actually just saw a meme the other day. They go, ask a guy to show you the number 3, and how many of us go like this to like in honor of that, because that's how he got found out in the bar down there. Inglourious Bastards is so good. I agree with you. I don't think we can do 16.
I don't think he has 16 films.
I don't think he does either.
Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Kill Bills.
Did he do? He starred in it. Somewhere between Dusk and Dawn. No.
No. Yeah.
He was starred in it. He starred in it, but I don't think he directed.
No, he
it.
did. I'm pretty sure because he wrote himself in to lick Selma, lick her feet, or the beer coming off it. I think whatever's coming off of Selma Hayek's feet.
Was that movie?
From Dusk Till Dawn, I think.
Yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn. He did not direct that.
He didn't.
No. His director credits: Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill 1 and 2, Death Proof, Inglourious Basterds, Django Unchained. Forgot about that one. The Hateful Eight, and then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. What's his new one coming out?
It got like delayed.
Yeah, because it's He's got a podcast.
That's a good thing. Best directors of all time.
Yeah, right.
Because I mean, you got Quentin, you got Martin, my favorite, you Christopher Nolan. I mean,
Spielberg, George Lucas,
Spielberg,
Orson Welles, Alfred Hitchcock. That's great, man. And I reached out to RJ and Joe, my buddy Joe. He's a film professor. RJ is a movie critic. Write that down for next week. I like when we get out ahead of the bracket. We'll do best cereal
David
this week.
Fincher.
I like him. I feel like
Gone Girl.
I feel like he's written a lot of good stuff.
Gone Girl's gas. I think he directed Prisoners.
7, Gone Girl, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Oh, he did Zodiac. Wow. He did Fight Club.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
He's up there, man.
But I feel like, didn't he write some? Okay, here's his directing credits, David Fincher. Alien 3, 7, The Game, Fight Room, Panic Room, Zodiac, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, The Social Network, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Gone Girl, Mank, and The Killer. Wow. Executive producer.
Gone Girl's so good.
I guess he didn't write anything. Maybe I'm thinking David Ayer. David Ayer has written some good stuff, too. Yeah, because Fury. Great movie from him, man. That's a good-ass flick right there. David Ayer, director. Fury. Suicide Squad sucked, but okay.
GOAT's got to be Christopher Nolan. I mean, his discussion.
You think so?
Dude. Okay, you want to...
we'll find out next week. We'll do that as our bracket, but...
The Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
Interstellar.
Yeah.
Dunkirk. Inception.
Dunkirk is good.
Memento. The Prestige. I mean, he is just banger after banger.
Do you want Forbes' list of the greatest 30 greatest directors of all time?
Yeah.
On Forbes. This came out last month, by the way.
One's probably going to be Spielberg.
All right, they do rank one. I don't want your advertisement. I ain't buying what you're selling, man.
Coppola.
They do Arika Kurosawa?
I don't even know who that is.
He did a lot of Drunken Angel, Seven Samurai, High and Low. Okay, so he's number 1. Number 2, Billy Wilder. Number 3, Frank Capra. Number 4, Jean-Luc Godard. Number 5, Hitchcock. Number 6, Wong Kar-wai. Number 7, Stanley Kubrick. How the hell did we not name him yet? Saeed Ray is number 8. Federico Fellini. He did a lot of historical stuff. La Dolce Vita, 8.5. That's a good one. Francis Ford Coppola, which I don't think we mentioned, was at 11. Orson Welles, 12. Martin Scorsese, 15. Spielberg, 17. Sidney Lumet's 20. Spike Lee, 21. Where the hell is George Lucas?
It's just Star Wars.
Sofia Coppola, John Huston. Dude. Vincent Minnelli. Okay, they do George Lucas not in the top 30.
Whatever.
Neither is Christopher Nolan.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, all right, maybe a bad list. I'm there. All right, we're going to list more from Batonio, but we're out of time here. It's 38. All right, you want to do time? You just want to get right into time hop? Do that quick?
Sure.
All right, let's do it. Jump into time hop because we got to do 10-cent beer night history. Right now. All right, after time up, because today's the 50th anniversary of the 10-cent beer night, I'm going to read you the history of that day, 1974. But first, this day, 2020, the NBA announced that they had canceled the rest of their regular season, and they would announce a training camp, and the playoffs in the bubble would start in July. All the way back in 2020. This day, 2017, NBA Finals, Game 2, Warriors smoked the Cavs. 132-113. LeBron only had, LeBron had 29, 27 from Kevin Love. Kyrie Irving had 19. No other Cavaliers scored in double digits. How could you beat them? Durant, 33. Steph Curry, 32. Klay Thompson had 22 for the Warriors this day, 2017. This day, 2015, NBA Finals Game 1. Cavs fought at Golden State 108-100. LeBron had 44. Kyrie pitched in 23. This day, 2015. This day, 2012, MLB Draft. Houston takes Carlos Correa, number 1. Guardians take Tyler Naquin at number 12. This day, 1984, Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA album was released. You know,
you don't like him.
I'm not a big Springsteen guy. Mel and Cam, they don't do it for me. Rod Stewart, Billy Joel, it is what it is. 74, 10-cent beer night. We'll get to it. Also, this day, 74, the NFL granted a franchise to Seattle, the Seahawks. I love that name. I think it works really well for Seattle. This day, 1944, General Dwight Eisenhower canceled the D-Day invasion for the following day due to bad weather. So how did they not know we were still coming? Like, are they just sitting out there like, man, there are a lot of boats out there, and like, we'll see in a couple of days.
Man, I don't know.
Could you imagine? I seriously, you talk about the past generation, man. And I think we've all seen Saving Private Ryan. Holy God.
Dunkirk.
Man. Could you imagine that? Dunkirk. Like, well, do you want to know what? The Dunkirk invasion was yesterday in history. I didn't bring it up. I should have.
Was it?
Yesterday in history. 18-year-old kids, man. Getting off those boats. And, dude, what? Like, that is insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, dude, what a time, man. This day, 1927, the first ever Ryder Cup was held. Walter Hagen was the United States captain, and they beat Great Britain 9.5 to 2.5. Ryder Cup's one of the best sporting events. I know they do it every other year, but man, do I love the Ryder Cup. This day, 1896, Henry Ford, for the first time ever, drove a Ford.
Nice.
His prototype Ford. He went down the streets of Detroit. This day, 1889, the Boston Bean Eaters and their pitcher John Clarkson recorded the first ever immaculate inning. I have a long-standing argument that I don't buy the immaculate inning that baseball buys. Because baseball is 9 pitches, 3 strikeouts. That includes foul balls. In my immaculate inning, it should be 9 pitches, 9 strikes. I don't count foul balls in an immaculate inning. Now, baseball does. You go through immaculate innings, they count all that. I actually really believe it should be 9 swinging strikes.
But not in the Matt Fontana record.
Not in the Matt Fontana record book. In mine, it's got to be 9 strikes, either called or swing. Foul ball should not count. But the first one was this day, 1889. Happy birthday goes out to former Indian Tony Pena, former Ohio State Buckeye, and current color analyst Jim Lachey. Jim Lachey is a mountain of a man. Met him before, really tall. And obviously he was on the Hogs there with Washington back in the day. Angelina Jolie, Russell Brand, and Keith David, who just gets slept on, man, for the roles of Keith David. Now, I'm not talking about, you know, there's 2 actors. There's one named David Keith and one named one's named Keith David and one is named David Keith.
I've never heard of either.
You know David Keith. So, I'm sorry, you know Keith David. So Keith David was in first back-to-back roles for him, by the way. He was in The Thing in 1982 and then Platoon in 1986. Then he was in Roadhouse. You probably know Keith David from Seinfeld. He played, right? That was him, right? Oh, no. That was, oh my God, the lawyer in Seinfeld. Jackie Chills. Philip Morris. No, but Keith David, he like always shows up on that list of actors that you know, but you can't name who they are. So Keith David, I just know from Platoon and The Thing, which are awesome movies. But then David Keith is another actor, and he was in Independence Day, Men of Honor. He's always like playing like a military type of guy. And there was something funny that they posted that what if David Keith and Keith David played a film together where Keith David played David Keith, and it was all surrounding a guy named Dave, you know, something like that. But no, it is Keith David's birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to him. 2 movies and a TV show. We'll go quick on these. This day, 2009. Pretty famous comedian started his own show, and he played a bunch of funny clips from online.
Daniel Tosh? Tosh.0?
That is correct. Tosh.0, this day, 2009. I don't know if you get these movies. This day, 1953, Julius Caesar.
Ides of March?
No, just Julius Caesar's the movie. But yeah, that's it. And then 1947, Miracle on 34th Street.
Okay.
All this day in history. Because I just want to get to 10 Cent Beer Night, buddy. Here we go. So this is the 50th anniversary of 10 Cent Beer Night here in Cleveland. Let's do a little history for everybody. So they have previously done a promotion beginning with Nickel Beer back in 1971. So, you know, they had done it before. But it also at that point had a bench-clearing brawl on the field. There wasn't an off-the-field situation. But here we go. 6 days after the brawl in Texas, the promotion, the nickel beer night happened a couple years prior. 6 days before the brawl in Texas, Cleveland's 10-cent beer night promotion drew 25,134 fans to Cleveland Stadium for a Tuesday night, twice the number expected. A 12-ounce cup of beer was offered at just 10 cents, which was a substantial discount from the regularly priced 65 cents. And there was a limit of 6 beers per purchase, but no limit on the number of purchases you could make.
6 beers per purchase is still outrageous.
Yes. The Rangers took a 5-1 lead, but throughout the game, the increasingly inebriated crowd grew more and more unruly. Early in the game, line drive hit in the stomach, Jenkins dropped to the ground. Fans in the upper deck started yelling, "Hit him again." A woman then ran out to the Indians' on-deck circle and flashed her breasts. Nice. Then tried to kiss umpire Nestor Chalik.
We need more of that.
Yeah. As the second run of the game was scored, a naked man sprinted and slid into second base.
We need less of that.
One sports writer saying probably getting dirt in places unsuitable for speculation. And an inning later, a father-son pair ran onto the field and mooned the fans in the bleachers.
Good God. How old was the kid?
Don't know. Then some fans snuck firecrackers into the stadium, which they then lit in the stands or threw onto the field. As the game progressed, more fans ran onto the field and disrupted play. Rangers first baseman and future Indians manager Mike Hargrove was pelted with hot dogs and spat on. The Rangers, obviously, they continue to fight through the game. Cleveland fans once again began throwing objects onto the field and firecrackers into the Rangers bullpen. A cloud of firecracker and marijuana smoke contributed to the unsettling mood. By the 7th inning, most families and fans who had remained sober had left the ballpark, leaving nothing but the highly intoxicated fans. Sports writer Paul Jackson described in a 2008 article, early on, the demand for beer surpassed the Indians' capacity to ferry it to the concession stands. And perhaps the same person who suggested the promotion decided to allow the fans to line up outside the outfield wall and fill up their cups directly from the Stroh's delivery trucks. The promotion achieved critical mass at that moment as people refilled via an industrial spigot. In the bottom of the ninth, the Indians rallied to tie the game at 5. But that's when the riot began. 19-year-old fan Terry Yurkic ran onto the field and attempted to steal Texas outfielder Jeff Burrows' hat. Burrows stumbled while confronting Yurkic. Thinking that Burrows had been attacked, manager Billy Martin and the rest of the Rangers ran onto the field with bats to try to help out their teammate. At that point, a large number of intoxicated fans, some armed with knives, chains, and clubs that they fashioned from portions of the stadium, also ran onto the field and hurled bottles at the fans. 200 fans surrounded the 25 Rangers players. Realizing the Rangers might be in danger, Cleveland manager Ken Aspromonte ordered his players to grab their own bats and run out there to try to protect the Rangers. At that point, they were able to subdue some of them, while Texas catcher Duke Sims wound up getting into a fight with a fan. The teams retreated from the field into the dugouts, with players protecting one another. The teams fled to their clubhouse and locked the doors. The crowd pulled up, stole bases from the infield, which, by the way, have never been recovered, and rioters threw a vast array of objects, including cups, rocks, bottles, batteries from radios, hot dogs, popcorns, and folding chairs. Eventually, the umpire realized that there would not be order restored in a timely manner. He was too a victim of the riots. One struck cut his head when he was hit with a stadium seat. He later called the fans uncontrollable beasts, and after the rioting continued for about 20 minutes, Joe Tate and Herb Score calling it live on the radio, the Cleveland Division of Police finally arrived to restore order. They arrested 9 fans, and the game was called. Danny Coughlin attempted to interview fans, but was eventually punched in the face. Who punches Danny Coughlin? Assholes. Cleveland general manager Phil Segui blamed the umpires for losing control of the game. Are you serious? The beer night. So that's pretty much it. I ran through all of it. That was it.
So is this worse than Bottlegate?
Well, here's the thing. Bottlegate was just over the Terry McAuley call, right?
Yeah.
But this was like, you set yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
10-cent beer, like everybody's just going to get hammered. And it's escalation. One idiot runs on the field. I'll run on the field with you.
They should do it again.
Probably. I mean, they do the $2 district thing. And in today's money, 10 cents is about 65 cents. Could you imagine going there and get a 12-ounce can of beer? It's $2 now pregame. But the issue was that they let it go into the game, and they never cut it off. Again, to the point of they just told everybody, hey, go out back. The Stroh's truck's out back. Go fill up out there. Probably a bad idea. But 10-cent beer night. Here's your final box score. No fatal injuries, though. Damage to the field, bases stolen, never returned. 9 fans were arrested for disorderly conduct.
Surprised that's it.
Yeah. That's it. 10-cent beer night, man. I'm actually shocked. I thought it'd been more. 25. And again, the Indians were not playing well at that point. As the game proceeded, on-field incidents and massive alcohol consumption further agitated the audience, many of who threw lit firecrackers and streaked across the playing field and were openly smoking marijuana.
Remember when they burned all those disco records?
Well, that was the night disco died. That was in Chicago. Yeah. Those promotions, got to think them through. I think we're a little bit better off having it, but that is certainly something that goes down in the history books. 10-cent beer night 50 years ago today. You got the boost?
Not up yet.
All right, we're going to get the boost. We'll get it with Tipico coming up in a little bit. But, Ryan, you know what we do have? Our bracket of the week. Your favorite cereal. Let's get to it. Here we are. Lay us out, please.
All righty. Group 1 and Group 2 are going today. Group 1, we got Cheerios, Fruit Loops, Reese's Puffs, Apple Jacks.
Oh, okay.
And then Group 2, Raisin Bran, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Honey Nut Cheerios, and Special K.
I can't tell you last time I've ever had Special K.
Me neither.
Yeah. Group 3?
Lucky Charms, Honey Bunches of Oats, Captain Crunch Rice Krispies.
Lucky Charms.
And Group 4, Frosted Flakes,
Not good.
Cocoa Puffs, Fruity Pebbles.
Okay, yep, that's it.
And Life.
All right, I like it. So we'll vote. Groups 1 and 2 go out tonight. You can follow us at Matt Fontana Show and vote on all of that as we go. Ryan, let's end up our 2 for Tuesday. Or we asked, because again, Jeff Passan started this morning with some rumors out there. This came down. He got a lifetime ban. This happened 20 minutes ago.
To Cepeda?
Yeah, to Cepeda. He's got a lifetime ban from baseball for betting on his own games.
F round, find out.
That'll do it. Jeff Passan this morning, just poking around in some of the teams that'll be buyers, sellers. He has the Guardians as a likely adder. He brought up Bo Bichette. Would you rather have a middle rotation guy or Bo Bichette? Where are we at?
Alrighty, well, middle rotation starting pitcher is winning 56.7% to 43.3.
All right, I like it. And our second one, you only get one when you go to the game. Hot dog or a beer?
And this one is damn close.
Oh.
50.6% say a glizzy. 49.4 say a brewski.
I think I got to go a beer.
I'm going beer.
You know, everybody does those rankings of the best beer, the post-mo beer, the shower beer, the golf beer, the beer at the ballpark. All that is great. There's nothing, and especially, you and I were talking about this, I think, yesterday. That beer when it's on ice. You know, not in a refrigerator, and fridge beers are fine. When you get that beer that's been on ice in a cooler or from the beer guy, it was funny because, like, obviously they still have vendors. By the way, did you know it's cashless there now? Only cards. I think that's good. I feel bad for the vendors because it's just easy to hand them a couple bucks as their tip.
Yeah.
But it was so funny. My son, all he kept saying was, I just want to go on the field. But then the guy, beer guy. And my son's like, what's that? And I was like, you'll find out one day. We avoided the cotton candy, though, which was really good. Avoided most.
Beer, did you see that garage beer promotion?
No. Oh, yes. I did retweet it, folks. That's a great mention. We should do this again. So you can go follow it.
I love the name of it.
I love it. So we tweeted out at Big Play. But I think you can do it at Drink Garage Beer. Here's where it is. It's Steak Month at Heinen's, where all June you could save $2 when you buy a 12-pack of Garage Beer and any steak. But If you go to Big Play, reply to the post with just your grill setup and a garage beer, you could win a garage beer apron and some Big Play gear and a brand new grill.
Yeah.
How about that?
I know Charles is going to do that.
Oh, yeah. I retweeted it yesterday. So, again, it's at Matt Fontana 3. Reflog retweeted. It's at Big Play. So, it sounds like we'll have this all month.
The title. I love the title.
Show us your meat.
Show us your meat.
Show us your meat. What's your favorite meat to grill? I just do burgers.
Grill?
Yeah.
Probably burgers.
I'm pretty good. I can do a good steak. I do actually want to know what I'm actually really good at grilling is chicken.
I'm horrible at grilling chicken.
Chicken always comes out. It gets stuck. You want to know your little key.
I always burn it because I'm too scared it's going to be raw.
I got a thing about raw chicken, too.
It scares me.
Low. Here's where you're at. Do you put olive oil on the chicken before you put it on?
No.
Okay.
That's what I got to do.
Here's the mistake grilling people make. They oil the grates. No. Oil your food.
Okay.
Oil your food. And what you want to do is go get, they sell the spray olive oil. Don't do canola oil. Canola oil is terrible for you. Do olive oil, and just when you flip it, just do a little spray.
All right.
A little spray. It'll help you get off the grill a little bit. And I just do barbecue chicken. I have no patience for smoking meat. Yeah. Like, I will eat brisket, anything you put in front of me. I will destroy some smoked wings, chicken, ribs, all day. You're out of your mind if you think I'm sitting there for 10 freaking hours. You call me when it's done. And I'm thankful, like, I have people, my brother-in-law loves, when I see the big green egg out at his house, I go, when are we coming over? Like, I worked with Casey forever, Casey Coolidge. And Casey was like, he started his own company for a little while, Union Barbecue. Dude, Casey made some of the best brisket. But if he needed to place an order, or fill an order, or if he had a competition, you're eating at 1 o'clock. Bro, he was up at 3:30 in the morning to put that on the smoker.
You have to.
You call me when it's done. I ain't going to do any of that stuff. But it is very delicious. So get with that at Big Play on Twitter. Coming up today, Josh Maria Cribbs, The Return. Ryan will be on that show. And a little bit of Enter the Jungle, James Rapien and crew. So check it out at Big Play. We'll be back tomorrow for another show. Get it tonight, Carlos. Let's go. Come on.
I want to just shell Seth
I want to get after this, man. Let's go. Get the win tonight, guards. Get after it. We'll talk to you maybe on a Victory Wednesday. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.